This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hi there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, May the 19th, 1984, the New York Islanders and their drive for five stalled as the Edmonton Oilers won the Stanley Cup. The New York Islanders were shocking a lot of people, not only winning one Stanley Cup in the 80s, but winning four. It's hard to go back to back sometimes nowadays, but now they won four straight, and the Islanders were seeking to get their fifth straight cup. Only the 1956 through 1960 habitants did so. The Oilers actually became the first team west of Chicago to win the cup in the NHL era. Chicago was the farthest west of a team winning the Stanley Cup in the NHL era from 1927 onwards. And now Edmonton had done so. It was amazing. They took care of the New York Islanders, the defending champions. All that. Anyway. Things were a whole lot different. And all that. The Islanders were looking for their fifth straight Stanley Cup after being the champs from 1980 to 1983. The Islanders had home ice advantage for the series. However, the NHL, in their strange wisdom, decided to do a 2-3-2 format, which meant that whoever hosted games 1 and 2 would host games 6 and 7. Whereas a team could host 3, 4, 5. I know basketball used to do that for many years. Now they don't. But anyway, it's kind of weird and all that. Anyway, it was just awkward and all that. Although, the finals would go back to the 2-2-1-1-1 format by 1986. Anyway, the Islanders still did pretty well for themselves. I mean, after all, they did take down the New York Rangers, Washington Capitals, and Montreal Canadiens to reach the final. Anyway, the Islanders had won every playoff series. The last time the Islanders lost the playoff series was 1979 to the Rangers in the conference finals, or the Final Four, if you will. Edmonton swept the Jets and North Stars on their way, and had to go through 7 games against Calgary on their way to getting the title. So, anyway, it was weird what would happen. But anyway, so it was time to get ready to go. So, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals saw the Oilers win 1-0 on Long Island as Billy Smith gave up the only goal, and that was in the third period with a minute 55 into the period by Kevin McClelland. And Grant Fuhr picked up the shutout. Now remember, the Oilers and the Islanders met in 1983 in the finals, and the Islanders swept the Oilers. However, the Oilers, after having to walk past the New York dressing room, were shocked that the Islander players were not really hooping and hollering after winning the cup. They were icing themselves down. And then that's when Messier and Gretzky and crew knew that it took a lot of guts to make the finals. So they tried to make themselves playoff ready and all that. So anyway, Game 2 saw the Islanders go back to normalcy, winning 6-1. Randy Gregg scored for the Oilers, but the Islanders had Brian Trottier, Greg Gilbert, Clark Gillies, then Trottier, Gillies. So Clark Gillies scored a hat trick in Game 2, and it's like normalcy has been put in place. But with the 2-3-2 format, that meant that the Oilers would get the next 3 games on home ice. And it worked. Winning 7-2, chasing Billy Smith from the net, which was rare, and putting Rolly Melanson. Kevin Lowe scored, then Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, Paul Coffey, Messier again, Kevin McLeod, and Dave Semenko. Yes, Dave Semenko. His 5th playoff goal of the year. It's like, Dave Semenko can score? Fuck. The Oilers got Clark Gillies scoring twice. And the funny thing is, after Game 3, the last 4 Islander goals scored in the series was by Clark Gillies. Boy, where was Mike Bossy when you need him? Unfortunately for the Oilers, bad luck happened as Pat LaFontaine tried to stop himself from hitting Grant Fuhr, but couldn't. Fuhr was hurt, and that meant Andy Moog was in net for games 4 and 5. But Moog's a good goalie. Anyway, the Oilers won Game 4 7-2. Smith played all 60 minutes, but still. Gretzky scored his first goal of the finals. Then it was Willie Lindstrom, Mark Messier. Then Lindstrom scored again. Pat Conacher, remember him? I don't. Scoring then Paul Coffey and Wayne Gretzky. So the Oilers went back to normalcy. Gretzky being on the score sheet. The Oilers scored twice. Brent Sutter and Patrick Flatley. So anyway, it was weird. The Islanders were now down 3-1 and just one loss away from suffering their first playoff series defeat in 5 years. Can you imagine going through 19 straight years playoff series? Tampa, well, when they went for 3 straight, they would have went for 12 by comparison. The Oil Drops had Moog in net. And of course, they decided to go with Rolly Melanson in the net. The Islanders screwed up royally. As Gretzky would score a major breakaway goal on Melanson after a few goals by Gretzky, Billy Smith came back in net, gave up a pair of goals to Ken Linsman and Yuri Curry, making it 4-0. However, in the third period, within the first minute, the Islanders actually scored twice. Pat LaFontaine scoring 2 goals to make it 4-2. Unfortunately, an empty net goal by Dave Lumley ended it. And the Edmonton Oilers were the Stanley Cup champions. And the Islanders finally tasted playoff defeat after 4 years of crushing everyone's hopes and dreams. They crushed the Flyers' dreams in 1980 thanks to that overtime goal by Bob Nystrom. In 1981, they crushed the North Stars' dream. 82, it was the Canucks in 4 straight. And 83, the Oilers. CBC would do a good job broadcasting this series as the great Bob Cole was in the booth with Dick Irvin and Gary Dornhofer. So, anyway, the Oilers got the Stanley Cup. Gretzky got to raise it in front of his hometown crowd. And he did all that. The crazy thing is that Mike Bossy, for how good he was as a natural goal scorer, didn't score 1 goal in the final against the Oil Drops. So yeah, the Oilers won the series 5-2. Anyway, so the 1984 Oilers can't be denied. Wayne Gretzky, Kevin McClelland, Ken Linsman, Mark Messier, Glenn Anderson, Yaroslav Pulsar, Dave Hunter, Pat Hughes, Yuri Curry, Willie Lindstrom, Dave Lumley, Dave Semenko, Patty Conacher, Lee Fogland, Kevin Lowe, Paul Coffey, Randy Gregg, Charlie Huddy, Don Jackson, Grant Fuhr, Andy Moog. And all that. So, yeah, he did it. So, anyway, the Oilers engraved 21 names on the cup, leaving out 4 players who were dressed in the playoffs. They were given a Stanley Cup ring, including the team pitcher, but were left off the cup. Mike Senior, number 33, was actually dressed up as the backup to Andy Moog for the final 2 games after Moog went down. Fuhr went down. He did play 3 games in 85 for the Oilers, but that was his only on-show thing. Rick Chartrand actually played some games for Edmonton. He was on that team. Chartrand didn't get named to the cup. Didn't get the cup engraving. However, he won 4 cups in 76, 77, 78, and 79. So, He won 4 cups anyway. Doesn't matter. Larry Melnick played 6 playoff games, but he didn't play in the regular season, so that's why he was left off the cup. And Raimo Summanen played 2 games in the regular season and 5 playoff games, but he was named off the cup. But there was some big names that were on the cup and all that. Anyway. Jari Kurri became the first player born and trained in Finland to win the Stanley Cup. Grant Fuhr was the first black player to win the Stanley Cup. Jaroslav Pulsar was the first Czech player to win the Stanley Cup. It wasn't Klima, it was Pulsar. And of course, Peter Puglington somehow got his father's name Basil onto the cup in '84. However, the NHL would mark out Basil's name with X's. And when the new ring for the cup it was created in 1993 for the winners of 79 to 91, Basil's name was not on the cup. Yeah, anyway. It was just huge and all that. But somehow in the new ring, they actually misspelled Edmonton with 2 D's instead of 1. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, the cup was in Edmonton's hands. Little did anyone know that the Oilers were going to go on their own mini dynasty in the 1980s. Winning the cup in '85, which I talked about a couple days ago when I talked about the conference final between Edmonton and Chicago. And then in '86, their chance to go three-peat was ruined when Steve Smith threw that bad errant shot off of Grant Fuhr's leg. I still say he was partially distracted by that air horn, going doo-doo-doo, and then he hit it off Fuhr's leg. Calgary would go on to lose the Stanley Cup final to Edmonton and Patrick Waugh. But the Oilers Drops did win the cup in '87 and '88, despite Gretzky giving Steve Smith the chance to raise the cup in '87. Edmonton fans did not forgive Steve Smith for that because they would have had a five in a row. Maybe not. I don't know. What would have happened in '87 or '88? But still, Gretzky won those cups and then he left for Los Angeles. Edmonton was cursed. Actually, no, because only in 2 years later, 1990, they won the cup. But they have not won the cup since. So anyway, that's just bad luck. But Gretzky got his trophy on home ice. Nothing controversial. And the Islanders finally learned how to lose. Anyway, I'm Jeff. I'm going to do